Other types of rounding. When the numbers involved are not integers, we may need to round them to the nearest integer. In order to do this, the original number must have at least one digit after the decimal point. Then, the known rules discussed earlier in this guide are used. For example, when we want to round the number 4.7 to the nearest integer, we get 5, as this is the closest integer to 4.7. The other integer around 4.7 is 4, which is farther than 5 from the original number. We have the following shown on screen. It is obvious that in rounding to the nearest integer we must consider the first digit after the decimal place. We call it the 10th value. When this digit is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, the number is rounded down to the nearest integer, i.e. its value decreases to the nearest integer. On the other hand, when the value of the first digit after the decimal place is 5 or more, the value after rounding to the nearest integer increases. This is illustrated in the previous example. In addition, we may need to round a number to the nearest tenth, i.e. to write it with one decimal place. This occurs when the original number has 2 or more decimal places. In this case, we have to consider the value of the first number after the decimal point, the value of tenth therefore, to know whether the original number has to be rounded up or down. For example, when 8.35 is rounded to the nearest tenth it becomes 8.4. While when the same number is rounded to the nearest integer, it becomes 8. When 12.62 is rounded to the nearest tenth it becomes 12.6, and when the same number is rounded to the nearest integer, it becomes 13, and so on. Example. Round the number 739.46 to the nearest thousand, hundred, 10, unit, integer, and tenth. Solution. When rounded to the nearest thousand, 739.46 becomes 1000, as it is closer to 1000 than 0. When rounded to the nearest hundred, 739.46 becomes 700, as it is closer to 700 than 800. When rounded to the nearest 10, 739.46 becomes 740, as it is closer to 740 than 730. When rounded to the nearest integer, 739.46 becomes 739, as it is closer to 739 than 740. When rounded to the nearest tenth, 739.46 becomes 739.5, as it is closer to 739.5 than 739.4. We may extend this logic to rounding to the nearest hundredth, thousandth, etc. However, we will discuss these situations when dealing with decimal numbers later in this tutorial. That is all for lesson 2.1.6. To continue this tutorial, please watch 2.1.7 Significant Figures. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with new videos. For more information, calculators, and tutorials, please visit www.icalculator.info.